The American flag is now flying at the American Embassy in Cuba tonight for the first time since 1961. Today, the official flag-raising ceremony was held at the embassy, which opened earlier this summer. The three Marines who raised that flag are the same three who took it down 54 years ago. The reopening of the embassy is part of a recent effort to normalize relations with Cuba. NBC4's Mike Bowersock spoke to a Columbus man tonight who's from Cuba and risked everything, even death, to make it here to America. Mike, how does he feel about this monumental moment?
Well, it's the first time anything like this has happened in his life. He's 52, and we have not had any relationship with Cuba in 54 years. Moises Perez came to the U.S. in the 1990s, and the trip nearly killed him. He filled up an automotive inner tube in Cuba and waited out on a beach in the middle of the night for a 90-mile float to freedom.
Yeah, I'm close to die. I change all my skin for the suns. It's like a desert, you know.
He was rescued by the U.S. Coast Guard 65 miles from Cuba 3 days later, floating among sharks with no water or food. His journey took years of work. Today, he and his wife, Clara, own their own restaurant in Columbus.
Have a real Cuban meal cooked by a real Cuban. We want to be able, everybody to have the chances that we've had here. You could buy a house, you work hard. You could buy a car, you work hard. You could have your family with you. Over there, you can't.
And on this day, when the American flag was raised in his home country, for the first time in his life, it was special.
I'm happy for U.S., for USA go inside the Cuba, in relation. I'm very happy.
But it ends there. He says there is still no democracy, no real elections, and nothing has really changed in Cuba.
Democracy,
Anyone planning to travel there needs to know that a trip to Cuba won't be like a trip to anywhere else. Tonight at Elite Travel, they have the rules for anyone wanting to make the trip to Cuba, with whom the U.S. is trying to normalize relations. It would be anything but a normal vacation.
If you want to go, you cannot take your cell phone. You cannot take American money. You cannot take credit cards. What they're going to do is have you exchange your money for their Cuban dollars. Then you're going to have to do pretty much everything they say when to do it.
The Cuban trips are organized by the Cuban government. It's a charter plane out of Miami, and the cost is around $3,000 per person. I'm Mike Bowersock, NBC4.
Mike.